what this year was all about. I was really thrilled to be here. And I think as any entrepreneur knows, women and men, adversity is something that we've all gone through. We all have our ups and downs. That's just the nature of business ownership. And I know I've had my fair share of adversity, but something that I know to be true is that it has been one of the biggest catalysts for the best growth and transformation that I've ever had. And something that I believe to be true is that every adversity and setback and challenges contains the seed for the biggest growth that you will ever have. And it makes you a more capable and stronger business owner. I mean, J.K. Rowling said it best. She said, "And rock bottom became the solid foundation upon which I rebuilt my life." And boy, is she ever accurate. Personally, for me, the first time that I really witnessed adversity and saw a lot of challenges was with my mother. My mother was in a circumstance where she was in Halifax, where my sisters and myself were born. So she was finishing her university education. And my sisters and I were in Nigeria, where my parents were born, and we were being raised by my grandparents. So circumstances found it that my mom had to quickly go back to Halifax, go back to Nigeria to get myself and my sisters because she risked losing us. And so we were raised by my grandparents who were amazing, but my mom had to quickly go back to Nigeria, fly back to Canada. She couldn't go back to Halifax, so she knew a couple of people in Ottawa and thought, I'm going to go to Ottawa. So my mom found herself in Ottawa with 3 girls, and we were about 10, and I was the youngest at 6, and she only had $40 to her name. And I saw how hard my mother worked and the adversity she went through. And I witnessed her go from living in a women's shelter, which really was the only place that she can take us when you have 3 girls and you have to feed and clothe them. There's no place you can go. And I think to myself, as a mother of 2, and I have my husband, to think about the anxiety and the fear that my mother went through was, just the anxiety, I can even imagine. So my mother worked hard. She went from living in that women's shelter to living in a housing complex to finally owning her first home. So I saw the many obstacles that my mother had to face. But the beautiful thing about that is, it was through my mother's rock bottom that became the solid foundation upon which the vision for my life was built. It was a vision that I wanted privileges and resources that my mother so desperately wanted to provide for us, but was unable to do. And I wanted to make sure that I had those privileges, and when I have my future kids, I could give them that privilege as well. And so it was that vision that led my sister and I to open up our first official business. It was our big business. It was a 3,000 square feet location. It was in Toronto. It was a wellness center, Elite Spa Fitness and Therapy. It was beautiful. We had a holistic therapist, we had a yoga studio, we had a skincare center, and we had different fitness studios and other alternative healthcare practitioners working with us. However, it was in 2008 in January that we launched, which was in the middle of the biggest recession that my generation has ever seen. And so, and really too, when we opened the doors, I wrote a business plan, and we got financing from the BDC, and we literally just had enough money to open the doors. No operating income. We had the money, and we thought, let's just do it. My sister and I were like, let's do it. And so those first 2 years were absolutely difficult. And I think for me, that was when I first hit my rock bottom. For 2 years, I went without income. And I owned a condo. In my early 20s, I was a rising star in a corporate world, and I had a condo in Bayview Village, and had absolutely no money for income. I remember one time when things got so bad, I was desperate for money. I needed money to come in somehow. And the only thing I found myself having was a telemarketing job. And seriously, in high school, I never even had a telemarketing job. And not that it's a bad thing, but it was just not for me. I totally sucked at telemarketing, and really, I didn't even last a week. And I remember I was trying to convince people that they wanted a trip, and all they had to do was come to some sales center to claim their trip. Nobody said yes. And these other high school kids got people in. I couldn't believe it. But I remember my first day on the job, that telemarketing job, I walked out, it was at Yonge and Eglinton, It was summer, because I remember there was a warm summer breeze, and I thought to myself, are you kidding me right now? This is what I get for following my dreams, for taking the risk, for being bold. I left a job that I was seen as an up-and-comer, the next leadership. I left that for this. I couldn't believe, and I had my mortgage, I had everything else. But what I can say though is during that time, my faith muscle was strengthened. It was during that time that I knew without a shadow of a doubt that there is a power much greater than me, but absolutely that works through me to help me get to the other side. And so we persisted. I got through other jobs to help me sustain the business. And then we had the privilege to be one of the few clinics that the Department of National Defense sent people to. And that became our bread and butter, and that was a big turnaround for us. And so we had the honor of treating our men and women in uniform. But eventually, we moved to Durham region, and the place was in Toronto, and I had kids. So we sold our location, and then I started working from home to help other entrepreneurs. But I remember during that time where it felt like constant struggle. And I know one thing now, that it's never me. And at that time, you always think it's just me. Other people seem so successful. Why can't I get there? And something that I know to be true is every entrepreneur goes through this. Anybody that we see have this big, massive success goes through it as well. I have the privilege of interviewing a lot of prominent leaders in our industry, and they often share the same story. From Marissa McTasney, who you know, I'm not sure she's here today, but I remember on one of my shows, she shared how oftentimes in her business, she thought she was going to go bankrupt, or how she had to refinance her house to keep her business going. And then there was a story of Selena Cesar-Chavons, who's the WIC BMP. She shared a story about how at one point in her journey, she found her husband and herself, along with her kids, going through a neighbor's garbage to salvage furniture so they can furnish their basement apartment. And then there was a story of Paul LaFrance, who I had the privilege as well to interview. And Paul LaFrance we see on HGTV, he's host of all these deck shows, he's renowned for his breathtaking designs, and he's all over TV and known throughout the world. At one point in Paul's journey, he found himself and his business in $16,000 in debt to a whopping $360,000. That's right, almost $500,000 in debt. It's funny how we miss those stories. Funny how we often mistake that overnight success that we all hear and read about was years in the making. There's no such thing as overnight success. You might see them pop up, but there was a lot of hard work. There was a lot of challenges. There was a lot of obstacles that they had to overcome in order to get that success they want. So if you're going through that right now, you are not alone. And so if this is the state that you're in right now, I just want to share with you guys 6 key principles, tools, techniques that has worked for me that I hope that you guys can take on and start incorporating in your life that will help you get to the other side. And once you get to the other side, you will find that you are more stronger and capable than you were before. So the first one is to practice forgiveness. Seems very simple, but you've got to understand and forgive yourself and other people. Forgive yourself about what you shoulda, coulda, and oughta done differently. I mean, when I walked out of Yonge and Eglinton that day, that building, I was full of self-criticism. Why did I start my business when I did? Why didn't I save up 6 to 8 months? I'm new to do that. I was the business side. I knew I should have had more cash flow, but I just went out and did it. And I blamed myself. All these calls, all this notice, why did I get myself there? I'm smarter than this. I was mad at myself. And then I was mad at the external circumstances. Competition opening up next door, like literally 4 months before we opened, competitor opened next door. And then there was the government. Why was it just a loan that I get? I wanted grants where I didn't have to pay back. And why in the world is my tax-paying dollar bailing out these big car companies and all these other companies, and I can't even bail out my own company? I was pissed and I was angry. And I had to let that go. I really did. Because all that anger did was holding me, was binding me to the circumstances that I did not want. That's what the anger did. I had to let it go and understand that I couldn't change anything. I had to take responsibility, learn from it, and move on. One of the best definitions I've ever heard of forgiveness was through the Oprah show. One of her guests said, "Forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be different." That's all it is. You forget the hope that the past could be different. It happened. We're going to learn from it. And what the beautiful thing about forgiveness that helps your life and your business is the fact that it clears the space. You're not having that energy. You're not associating yourself and binding yourself to that energy. You're actually creating the space, that vacuum, that allows opportunities to come into your life and into your business. You're creating that space. You're letting it go. And then something new and wonderful and different can come back into your world. So you've got to forgive yourself and whoever you blamed that you found yourself in that situation in the first place. The second thing is to have a clear vision and commit to it. You've got to clearly see what it is that you want. What kind of business do you want to build? Who do you want to work with? How much money do you want to make? What kind of lifestyle do you want? If you can't envision it, then you are not able to become it, nor are you able to achieve it. You have to see it. And no matter what's happening around you, do not shrink your dreams because things aren't working at this very moment. Look beyond that and start visioning what it is you truly want for your life, for your business to be. And when you clearly see it, you've got to see it often. You've got to visualize it. Honestly, it's got to make you feel so good. It's got to get the juices going within you. You've got to see it. You've got to become it. You've got to live in it. That's how miracles happen. Honest to God, that is how miracles happen. And when you have that clear vision, write it down. I cannot tell you how many people, I know what they want to do, but I'm like, okay, where do you have it? Do you have it written down? And they don't have it written down. There is a study that says 42% likely, that you are 42% likely to achieve something if you write it down consistently. So just don't write it down once and leave it alone, but consistently. And this is why for me, there's a planner that I created. And every month you have to prepay the new month and you've got to write down what it is you want to achieve. Because when you consistently see it and you consistently write it down, you're going to see opportunities that lines up. And when you have a clear vision, you're able to see different things that come into your life because we're inundated with information. When you have a clear vision of where you want to go, then you can evaluate all these different things coming at you to see if it makes sense for you and for your business. So see it, commit to it, and write it down. The next one is to align your beliefs to your vision. So basically to believe in your visions. I don't have to tell you this. You have to believe in your abilities and capabilities to make it happen. Your beliefs are made up of your habitual thoughts, your words, and your action. Start rewiring your brain and your mind to believe in it. Stop focusing on all the things that can go wrong and start focusing on all the things that can go right. Because when you put your energy and attention to it, you energize it. When you focus on it and you have your habitual thoughts and you keep writing what it is that you want, you're going to make it happen. It is said that success needs two things: belief and time. The bigger your belief, the less time it will take for you to be successful. The smaller your belief, the more time it's going to take. So start to make things work for you. Have the belief. Know that you can. And I find with belief too, sometimes we feel like we're not big enough or you can't do it. And I was there back when I was doing the telemarketing job, which was only a week. But I remember like I said, this is where my faith in something bigger, and again, it doesn't matter what name you call it, right? It doesn't matter. But I knew that there was something that was bigger than me that drove me. And when I couldn't believe in my abilities, I had faith in that power. I had faith in that invisible power that was driving me, that was opening the doors, that was giving me different things that I can walk through that can help me in my situation. And it did, and it worked, and it helped. The fourth one, get support. Nobody has ever achieved greatness on their own. It's just not possible. Get a coach, get a mentor, join a mastermind, join different networking groups. There's a ton of different networking groups in Durham region, and especially a ton specific to women. Find them, join them, and even events like this is fantastic. You're surrounded with people who are there to share in your stories, support you, hold you accountable, inspire, and empower you. You need people who are going to get what it is that you do, and they need to inspire, motivate, support, and hold you accountable. Jim Rohn said it best: we are the average of the 5 people we spend most of our time with. So start looking at your inner circle. Are they people who constantly tell you what can't be done? Are they full of those negative Nancys? Start to eliminate your time, because those greatly influences the results that you're going to get. Surround yourself with the right people. And the other thing too is, you've got to look at the people you spend your time with. Make sure that they don't just tell you what it is you want to hear. I've seen that many times, because then we surround ourselves with people, we want to do something, we get inspired, we have it written down what it is we want to do, and we don't do it. And those people just say, yeah, it's okay, you weren't inspired, that's fine. No, that's not good enough. They need to hold you accountable to do what it is you said you want to do. Because here's the thing, as you start changing, as you start to do things differently to achieve what you've never achieved, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be moving outside of your comfort zone. Then you find yourself procrastinating, feeling uninspired, and just changing your mind. So those people have got to call you out. They've got to really tell you, this is not what you said you were going to do. I'm not going to let you get away with it. This is what you said, do it. So ensure that those people, it's not just telling you what you want, but they're going to call you out on that BS if they need to. So ensure you have the right people around you that are helping you to get to where you want to go, and that are going to call you out on it. The 5th one is something I think it's really important, and I think it's one where it separates a lot of people who make it and a lot of people that are just watching and understand and think to themselves, I feel stuck. And that is to not mistake delays for denials. We're going to get no, we're going to get the challenges, we're going to get the setbacks. That doesn't mean that we're not going to get what it is that we want. And what I have found about delays is that oftentimes it helps us prepare for something better. A couple of stories I want to share. Actually, funny enough, it was with this event. So my first Connect event, it was probably a few years back. My girl Vanessa was on stage as one of the panels. And I was with a friend, and a friend whispered to me, she's like, Ooch, which most people call me. I think you can totally be up there one day. And I'm like, yeah, I could totally do this. And then Connect 2016, my sister got this email from Whitby Chambers. They're looking for RFP for these speakers. It was on success. I'm like, oh, I could totally do this. So I put an application. I'm like, yeah, I was so excited. And I got the email that I wasn't chosen to be a speaker. And of course, I was sad. I'm like, oh, I was totally wanting to go for this. But that delay was not a denial, because of course, 2017, I'm here on the stage with you guys today. But the great thing about that is, this year in January, I have a book launch, I had a planner that I just launched, so this timing was much better for me. And we forget that. And another story too was with, it was when I was a Huffington Post blogger. So when I first sent in a post, there was one particular post that was really popular in my community that a lot of my followers loved. So I sent it to Ariana herself when she was at Huffington Post still. And I said, check out this post. I think I would love to see it featured on Huffington Post. So she emails me back saying, yes, I love this. I would love to feature that post in Huffington Post. So excited. I went on Facebook. I'm like, just got an email from Ariana Huffington. I'm going to be on Huffington Post. This particular post will be there. So she CC'd her senior editor. And then a day later, the senior editor emails me back saying, thank you for your interest, but this particular piece doesn't fit for us. And of course, I was devastated and embarrassed, because I've just posted on Facebook that I was going to be on Post. So I gave myself time to honor my feeling. I did. I'm not going to just switch it around. I let myself feel the sadness and devastation. But the important thing is, I didn't live in it. I didn't live in that energy. I allowed myself to feel it, so that way I can release it. And then I shifted my focus. She said this particular piece. So then wrote another one, went through it, sent it to the senior editor. And I said something like, thank you for your feedback. That one didn't work, but I truly hope this one works for you. Send it back to her. She quickly emails me back saying, love this piece, and I would love to welcome you into the Huffington Post blogger community. And what that meant was I can blog as often as I want, whenever I wanted, and I did not have to go through any approval process. So I originally wanted to have one post featured, so that delay, and because I didn't live and accept it as a no, I just thought, not yet, allowed me now to be featured anytime that I wanted in Huffington Post. There's so many stories like this. I have even personal ones in my life, in my business, where the last one that I'll share was a personal one. So my husband and I, we had our son first, we got married, and then right away I'm like, okay, we need our second, I'm ready for it. So, didn't conceive, and I was frustrated. And seriously, I should have bought shares on First Response. Because I gained weight one time, I gained weight. It was just gaining weight, and I took a test. Because I'm sure the 5 pounds meant I was pregnant. And so I was so frustrated. But then one time I said, I'm just gonna let it go. I know it's gonna happen, that I will be done, not my time, at the right time. And so it was at that very moment that I let go, and I said, okay, there was a master cleanse that I normally do, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play basketball again and do all this stuff. When I let go, I conceived my little girl, Malaya. And the beautiful thing about that timing was when I was on mat leave with her, my oldest son started JK. So I only had one person in daycare, so saved me money, right? So that timing was so much better for me. We often think and get frustrated about things not happening fast enough. The right time, all those know, is preparing you for something better. Believe me when I say this, it truly is preparing you for something better. And the last thing, of course, is to show gratitude and appreciation. I think there's a lot of women here who can write the book on appreciation and gratitude. The more we find things to appreciate, the more we get. It's so much easier for us to find it at times when things are going well, but when the difficulty comes, that storm, when I found myself asking people that they want a trip and they wouldn't come at minimum wage, that was hard to find gratitude. But it's at that very moment that you need. Because you can find anything. It could be the fact that you're alive, you're in this room, being able to have the opportunity to be here. And one of the beautiful things I do as well with gratitude is there's a practice that I do, part of my priming. I would sit with my eyes closed and I just start visualizing my goals, what I want my business to look like. And then I picture my clients that I work with. And I send them massive love and gratitude. I picture them and I thank them visually for their time, for their energy, and their money that they invested with me to help them with their business. And I just send that out to them. And the beautiful thing with this practice is the fact that I'm sending it to them and sending it to myself. Because we are all connected, we are all one. What I send to you, I send to me. What I do to you, I do to me as well. Because we are all one. And the more you can start being grateful for what you have, yes, you may wish you made more money in your business, or you had more clients, but start being grateful for the ones that chose you. They're making an investment in you right now. Start being grateful for them, because it does expand. It does shift your perception. It does shift your energy, and helps you get more of it into your life. So start being appreciative for all that you have right now, and it becomes expansive. And so those are the 6 steps that I have right now. And before I finish, I really just want to remind you again, as I said, that you're never alone in this. The ups and downs, the challenges, the obstacles, you are never alone. Seriously, look around your table right now. The women and some men that are sitting amongst you, really, chances are, one of them have gone through the challenge that you're going through. One of them is currently going through it right at this very moment. And one of them is about to face it. But what's beautiful about this is that at any given moment, you have the opportunity to wipe the slate clean. You have the ability to write a new script and a new chapter in your life and in your business. Every single day offers you a fresh new perspective and a fresh new opportunity to start to design your dream lifestyle and your dream business. And truly, it starts with you getting up every single morning and at any given moment asking, what would courage have me do? If I was not afraid, what would I do? Because I tell you this, courage is absolutely not the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to continue despite your fear. It is the willingness to rise up, show up every single day, and play full out and still commit 100% regardless of what you see around you. That is what courage does, and that is what courage does for you. And you need to rise up and share your unique gifts through your business to those who need your business the most. And like I said in the beginning, every setback, every obstacle, and every single adversity contains the seed of success. And that seed of success is going to attract even greater abundance in your life and in your business.